MKUltra, a secretive program overseen by the CIA, pursued and researched the concept of mind control. While this particular program began in 1953, it actually was a continuation of programs like Project Artichoke and Chatter, which also used drugs, hallucinogens, or hypnosis to try and influence living beings, including animals and humans. MKUltra and its predecessors have raised countless suspicions on its civility and legality. Today I go over the project itself and the conspiracies surrounding the group and its experiments. To start off, an explanation on the predecessors of Project MKUltra provides more context surrounding the experiment. As mentioned, the two previous groups were called Project Artichoke and Chatter. Project Artichoke began in the early 1950s and arose from Project Bluebird. The operation worked on increasing the effectiveness of interrogation methods and thought control. According to Military Wiki, a memo found in January of 1952 explained the goal of the operation perfectly. It stated, "Can we get control of an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will, and even against fundamental laws of nature such as self-preservation?" Clearly, the memo further explained that the experiment wouldn't benefit the subject and would actually negatively impact them. In fact, the ones perceived to be weak-willed or an outcast were the main targets of these experiments. On the other hand, Project Chatter focused more on the identification and trial of drugs that could be used for both interrogation and recruitment purposes. Starting off in the late 1940s, it used hallucinogens such as LSD and other mind-altering drugs on both humans and animals. One of their studies involved 5 non-depressed patients versus 15 depressed patients. The experiment led to one of the depressed patients having a schizophrenic reaction to the dosage of LSD supplied to him. In the end, though, the overall results of this project were undetermined. Following the inconclusive results of both previous projects, it led to the creation of Operation MKUltra. While continuing the work of its forerunners, it was also heavily motivated by the fear of communism spreading. In fact, the military was worried that troops captured while fighting in the Korean War would be brainwashed and converted to supporting the beliefs of communism. The project started in 1953 and ended around 1973. Suspiciously, though, details surrounding the files of this project didn't become public until 2 years later. Even then, certain pieces of information were missing due to the illegal deletion of multiple files. Delving further into MKUltra, it was known to experiment on unwilling patients such as common US citizens and prisoners. A majority of the tests were conducted in the US and Canada universities, prisons, and hospitals. Psychological torture was their specialty in finding the key to controlling the minds of patients, which included previous uses of drugs and hypnotism, but also other activities. According to Levy, author of Secret Societies, Dr. Sidney Gottlieb supervised the use of drugs, behavioral modifications, hypnotism, radiation, manipulation of sleep patterns, enhanced interrogation, and even new techniques like electroshock therapy. Unfortunately, the project also created Operation Midnight Climax, which employed prostitutes to lure unsuspecting victims into safe houses controlled by the CIA for further drug trials. Once tricked inside, they would be unwillingly subjected to a dosage of LSD while the CIA watched anonymously through a two-way mirror and recording devices. Ultimately, though, the trials of LSD would eventually result in the death of CIA officer Frank Olson, who unknowingly drank a beverage secretly laced with LSD, and several days later tumbled out of an 11th-story window in an alleged suicide. Suspiciously, there was a request for a second autopsy which found that Olson had suffered injuries before his fall, which caused speculations of an assassination by the CIA. While this led to the CIA awarding the family with a $750,000 settlement, the overall narrative of MKUltra wouldn't waver. Thus, the program was halted in 1961 when it was clear the technologies were not working and only mentally and physically harmful to the patients. However, this leads us to the conspiracies regarding MKUltra because many suspected that the program didn't actually shut down in 1961. In fact, some believe that they succeeded in learning how to control unwilling minds, and that's how the counterculture of the 1960s rose. Thus revealed that the secret motive was to find a way to manipulate Americans in mass mind control. It also, according to Conspiracies, allegedly led to the assassination of high-ranked people and caused a heavy amount of drug abuse starting in the 1960s. Realistically, though, neuroscience is a very difficult and complicated subject, which scientists don't have a full grasp on to this day. There's plenty of mental processes and illnesses in the present day that are not quite understood or properly treated. So in my personal opinion, it is a stretch to believe that there is a known way to control not only one individual's mind, but a massive group of individuals' thoughts and actions in one sitting. Overall, all that can be said factually is that MKUltra was a terrible abuse of power and forced unwilling test subjects to the influence of psychological drugs, sleep deprivation, and behavioral modifications such as electroshock therapy that provided long-lasting negative impacts on living beings and even resulted in an individual's death. Not all of the study can be revealed due to the deletion and suppression of files regarding these assessments, but what is already known is enough to frighten the majority of people. Hey guys, I hope that you enjoyed today's story. It's inspired by the Little Book of Secret Societies I recently read by Joel Levy. It's about MKUltra and other conspiracy groups and organizations that are heavily secretive, so if you would like to read some of that, go check it out. It's very interesting in my opinion. But anyways, thanks again, and please hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss another upload from me, and turn post notifications on, and leave a comment as well. Thank you, and be safe out there.